One probably benefited from a break there to catch your breath a little bit, maybe get a snack, another cup of coffee. I benefited from a break because I had a very large iced coffee and I needed a break. And so it was good for me. I appreciate you getting back on the call and getting back on the call at 3:15 so we can stay on schedule and be mindful of your time and to make sure that we stay on the agenda. We will jump right into our next talk and I'll turn it over to Rob. I will ask folks, I know that many of us are working in our offices or on the call from our office or from home, and it's very easy to get distracted. So I will remind everyone, if you can, to try to minimize the distractions while we're on our call, and hopefully we'll all get benefit from the presentations that we have for you today. So at this point, if we're all back together, I'll turn it back over to Rob.
Okay. All right. Welcome back, everybody. I myself got a big glass of iced tea, so I'm ready to go for the next round. Our next speaker is Whitney Mcdaniel. She's an assistant governor here for District 7770. As a Rotarian, Whitney's been a Rotarian since 2004, a Paul Harris Fellow, a 10-star Rotarian, a sustaining member, served as her club's past president, or was a club's president in 2011, 2012. She and her husband, Todd, live in Beaufort, where she is a UK graduate, a Wildcat, and presently a financial advisor with Wells Fargo. Without further ado, Whitney Mcdaniel.
You're on mute.
Whitney, we can't hear you.
Okay, now I'm unmuted, but I don't see my presentation anywhere. So you probably don't want to see stuff from my work. So let me stop share and then find, okay. It's always fun when you think you know what you're doing, and then you realize you really don't. All right, PowerPoint. All right, slideshow. Okay. There it is. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, this afternoon I'm Whitney McDaniel and I'm going to talk about my club's impact, completing a service project assessment. Now this is not boring. This is really something very important that our Governor-elect Paul Walter has asked me to introduce to you, and that our incoming RI President, Shekhar Mehta, is encouraging us to do this year. We are going to do more and we are going to grow more. Shekhar is urging members to, quote, become more involved in service projects, saying that caring for and serving others is the best way to live because it changes not only people's lives, but also our own, unquote. So if we're going to serve more and we're going to do more, then we need to get our members more involved in service. And we may need to assess our current situation. Unprecedented. How many times have we heard that over the past year? It seems that nearly every facet of our lives has been changed this year. And with change comes apprehension, anxiety. With these unprecedented changes, we have experienced, or at least I have experienced, feeling a little bit crazy, a little bit unsettled. I'm not in my normal Rotary routine. So with this new year upon us, this is a good time that we remember that Rotary isn't canceled, it is just different. And so for the majority of us, it's going to take a little time for us to take a step back and review what we need to do in our communities. So let's take a look at While there's been enormous change, and we are all naturally resistant to that change, as Rotary people of action, we need to change some of our service projects in some cases. Some clubs are in that first box, however, where they say, don't worry, be happy. Service projects have continued as they normally have. Maybe they pivoted quickly and made adjustments and they found a new normal. While other clubs have decided to simply put things on hold for a little while. They find themselves in that second box where they need to step back and start again. So let's all take a step back together to reflect for a moment on what projects have worked well. In this past year, can we keep some things going that we've been doing? Can we improve on some things that we're currently doing? What projects might have run their course? In my club, we do Rotary Reader, and we just haven't been able to do that this year. So we're looking at innovative ways that we can interact until that time that we can get back in the classroom. And hopefully that will be soon. What projects might you take on in the new year? Well, we're going to look into a community needs assessment tool that will show you various ways to complete an evaluation and get on to these next steps. Assessing your community's strengths, weaknesses, needs, and assets is an essential first step in planning for an effective project. By taking the time to learn about your club, its members, and the community that you serve, you can discover the best opportunities for service and maximize your club's ability to make an impact. Now, perhaps you'll find a new way to address a known issue, give residents in your community a chance to point out overlooked challenges. Before you start an assessment, consider what you want to learn from your community. An effective assessment will reveal the things that you need to do more of. This tool is available on myrotary.org. You can simply go to myrotary.org, log in the search, put in community assessment tool. You can also put in the full URL that I put at the bottom of the page, and it will be provided for you on this presentation. So let's dig in together on the tool and see how we can use it together. Before you start an assessment, you have to consider, what do you want to learn? Do you want to learn about your community? Do you want to learn about a section of your community? An effective assessment will reveal things that you did not know before. While assessing your club is not specifically referenced in this tool, I would put before you that it is going to be very hard to have an effective service project if you don't first assess your own club. So what are your club's strengths, weaknesses, needs, and assets? Do you have somebody who has access to a big truck? Do you have someone who has access to a facility? What do you have within your club? And then I want us to think about, well, who are we? Now we know from our motto that together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. We keep hearing together we. So I want you to think about, who are we? Who are the we in your club? This is not just you, presidents. You are not going to do this assessment all by yourself. You're going to do it with your club members. You're going to do it with your community. And that way you're going to be successful. Take just a moment and jot down, if you would, what is your greatest strength? Do you know as a club? Is there a weakness, something that maybe you'd like to change? You don't necessarily have to share that with anyone, but I want you to begin that process of thinking through, what does our club need? Who do we lack? Somebody in an area? Maybe that we want to get our town manager involved so we know more about what's going on. Maybe there's a key person in the community who isn't a Rotarian, but maybe we need to get that person in our club. And then start thinking about those assets, those things like facilities, money, influence, and start listing those for yourself. Then we'll begin to assess our own community. Assessments are the foundation of every humanitarian project, large or small, because they provide a framework for identifying solutions to your community's problems. They're also here to build valuable relationships within the community. You can encourage residents to help make lasting local improvements by working with your club. For club members who want networking, community assessment provides a great opportunity to meet with centers of influence, such as those city managers, city leaders, county officials, heads of organizations, maybe someone within your hospital, the United Way, a prestigious group within your community who you can partner with. You may discover as you reach out within your community that the people you survey want to be a part of the work that you're doing. And so this can become a membership tool. You may discover the needs are just too great for your club. Once you start digging in, you might find that you can do a multi-club activity. Don't feel like you have to take all this on yourself. Think about partnering with other clubs in your area. You may find from assessing your own club that you just don't have the tools to do the work that you have found needs doing. So share that with your AG. Your AG can then reach out to other clubs and find out if there's a way to get these projects done. Let's look at different types of assessments so that we can see how we will evaluate the work to be done. You may use one or a combination of these 6. You can use them all. You can adapt them to your own strengths, depending on your area of focus. You can combine them to best suit your club's resources and preferences. As you determine your approach, consider any available data within the community. Has local, regional, or national government published credible findings? These findings could help inform you in your strategy. Have other organizations or institutions researched the community? Do you notice any gaps in statistical data? To answer these questions, consider partnering with local experts in your community, in your club, and in your district. Let's take a brief moment to look at each of these separately. The community meeting, the asset inventory, a survey, interviews, focus groups, and community mapping. Think of the community meeting much as your club assembly. This is where you get a big group of people together and you have an agenda, and it's an opportunity to talk and to build. You can see the advantages of community meetings include giving people of diverse backgrounds a chance to express their views. It allows participants to build upon one another's responses, can involve a large group of people, will help identify community leaders, will help discern the significance of a variety of issues, and can explore potential solutions. Asset inventory. Maximize your available resources. What do you have in your community, in your club? This can be maintained and updated annually. It's also something that 1 or 2 people can do together. A survey. How easy is a survey monkey? If you want quick answers to questions, very specific questions, I encourage you to use the survey method. This can be written or it can be electronic. And in this day and age, SurveyMonkey is a great tool. Interviews, one-on-one. This is great because it's 2 people. It's easy to schedule. You get free flow of information, one-on-one communication. You can pivot quickly if the conversation starts to go in another direction and you find that there's maybe something else that you hadn't considered. It's also great with illiterate populations if you're considering working with one of those because you're speaking one-on-one. Focus groups, small group activities. Now, these are for a targeted group. It can help you determine what the stakeholders believe, what your communities want addressed. Conducting a focus group requires careful planning and a skilled facilitator. There's more about that in the guide, but it's a quick and easy thing to set up. And the group dynamics can provide useful information that individual data collection doesn't usually provide. Finally, community mapping. This is so that you can take a look at the community, see what your resources in, literally just draw it out on a piece of paper. It's a great group activity. It'll identify how to use community resources and perhaps any barriers that there are within your community. And then we tie this all together with Rotary's areas of focus that Bob Gross just went over today. So when you're considering what your club is going to do, assess the situation, pair it up with your Rotary areas of focus so that you will be set up to do more, to grow more, and to be Rotary people of action. I do wonder as we went through this, and while it was quickly, did you see anything that made you think, I need to use this with my club? I'm going to assess within my club XYZ. Did you think of something within your community that you could do that maybe hasn't yet been addressed, or something that you might need to change? No matter what method you use, no matter what you do, I hope that you will always have fun, advertise all your good work, have fun, involve as many of your club members and community members as possible, and have fun. Do more, grow more. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Whitney. And again, just remind everybody, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box and they'll be addressed. And again, I'm all about that having fun part. That sounds great. And it's one super thing about the Rotary is the fellowship and the fun we have in doing what we do. So our next speaker is our current